We are, oops, okay, it's recording, got it. Myself and Andrew Freeman, my colleague, are from Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And today we plan to give you an overview of Kirkwood, as well as information on some of our support services, such as accommodation services, our autism support program, as well as our TRIO program here on campus. That being said, I'll hand it over to Andrew.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you for having us today. As Alyssa said, I direct the TRIO program here, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to give an overview of Kirkwood Community College as a whole. And so we're a fairly large community college. We have around 18,000 students enrolled throughout the fall, spring, and summer semesters. And so there's a nice big campus here with several buildings and pretty nice campus to visit. And I did a little research and discovered you're about 4 hours away from Cedar Rapids, so it's not that far. And there are a variety of majors that a student can enroll in. Some students will be what we call a liberal arts major and working towards their first 2 years of a 4-year degree. So they'll come to Kirkwood to do their first 2 years here and then transfer on to a 4-year school and get their 4-year degree. It saves students money when you do it that way. We charge by the credit hour at Kirkwood. And so for an out-of-state family, out-of-state student, the rate is $249 for a credit hour. And if you're taking 15 credits in a semester, it's $3,735 a semester. So it's very affordable. And we do not have formal housing here at Kirkwood, but there are a lot of apartments that surround the campus that are just right next door. And so that would be the housing options that we have. But the variety of programs, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And so here's a listing of some of the areas of study that we have. So I mentioned that a student might go into liberal arts for their first 2 years of going on to a 4-year school, but we also have several career options where a student will get a 2-year degree at Kirkwood and go to work. And so you can see we have an agricultural option, business and technology area, communications. Healthcare is a very popular area for our school. Hospitality, we're kind of a unique college because we actually have our own hotel on campus and our own kitchen area. And so students who want to go into culinary arts or hospitality management actually get to learn in that hotel and in the kitchen. We also have industrial tech areas. One of the more exciting parts of industrial tech is they have a robotics manufacturing area of study, and a lot of manufacturing is going in that direction. The math and sciences, social sciences, all the usual kinds of liberal arts areas as well. The support that we offer with financial aid is we do have the FAFSA option, so the application for financial aid, and we do assist students with filling that out if they need it. But Kirkwood also offers over $3 million a year in scholarships, and they have one scholarship application to get those awards. So if anyone is thinking about going to Kirkwood, they should go online and look for the scholarship application before you even come here. And finally, if you would like to apply to Kirkwood, it is free, and it's just a pretty simple online application. So that's my overview of Kirkwood as a whole, but I think we want to talk a little bit about some of our support services. So I'll hand it back over to Alyssa.
Yeah. Andy. So I'm going to start with accommodation services. I'm one of the accommodation case managers here at Kirkwood, and then I'm going to talk about our autism support program. I'm one of the advocates who works with students in that program as well. For accommodation services, we provide advocacy and support for students with disabilities on our campus. For students who want these services, they need to apply, and they can do that by getting on our website. They'll see the link for the application, and we also request documentation as well to support their accommodation request. This can be anything from an IEP, a 504 plan, or it can be a letter from a medical professional. We always prefer documentation that's the most recent, but we will work with ones further back if that's all the student has. Once we get this information, the student would get an email from us, and from there they would be paired with myself or another accommodations case manager, and that's where we really talk in depth about the student's needs and what accommodations they may be eligible for here in the classroom. And these services are free to any students who apply for accommodations through Kirkwood. So that's kind of a brief overview of accommodation services. I wanted to also touch on our ASK program, which is the Autism Support at Kirkwood program. And this program is for students with autism spectrum disorder or another similar diagnosis. We have weekly meetings with these students to work on academic, social skills, or personal skills. We work on things like executive functioning, organization, time management. We talk a lot about social and communication skills. We'll work with them in the beginning. We usually have kind of this model of I do, we do, you do. So working with the students on, okay, I'll show you how to do this and model it, and then we do it together, and then really empowering the students to do it on their own. With these meetings, we also have social events we put on for students, which is an excellent way for them to meet other students in the program and to perhaps practice those social skills they've been working on with their coach during their meetings. And I don't know if I clarified, but those are individual meetings. And then the social events is when the group can come together. This program is only housed on our Cedar Rapids main campus. It's not at the different county centers. While we provide the weekly meetings and the social events, we do not provide, services in the apartment or OT services, transportation, or paraeducation services. And this program is free as well, which we are really happy and excited about to offer that to students. For any student who is interested in applying, We ask that they schedule an informational meeting with our program so we can talk with them more in depth about what we offer and learn more about the students' needs. And then at the end of that meeting is where we would give the student the application if they're still interested in applying at that point. And that basically wraps up an overview of both of those services. I think then Andy's going to talk about TRIO here, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, so the TRIO program is a federally funded student support program, and there are thousands of TRIO programs across the United States. Almost every college or university has TRIO student support services. And what we do is we work with first generation students, students who meet income guidelines, and that's different for every family because it depends on family size and how many are in college and things like that. Or if a student has a disability, they would be eligible for TRIO. And what we do is we just provide additional advice, and guidance, and support. We have 2 TRIO advisors, a math specialist, a writing specialist, and peer mentors. So there's a lot of people that you can just ask questions, get information, get guidance from. And if you're in any of our programs, we monitor your progress for the entire time that you're here at Kirkwood. So we work with you from transitioning in and helping you get started to the time you might want to transfer to a 4-year school or find that career. We put on a lot of workshops and events. Some of the workshops are study skills focused, but others are things like financial literacy and budgeting your money. We do career development workshops. We do a lot of personal development workshops and talk to students about things like anxiety and transitioning into college life and becoming an adult and things like that. Like I mentioned earlier, we do assist students with the FAFSA. We do a summer program to transition students into Kirkwood. And we have a great lab and space to hang out in where students can do their homework there, eat lunch in there, hang out between classes, meet other students and start to build community with each other, get to know other students, and pretty soon get that peer interaction going. So that's the TRIO program.
And is that just for first generation college students?
Yep, so you only need to be one of the 3, first generation, or have a disability, or meet the income guidelines.
Okay. So it's any of the 3 categories.
Any.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. And Alyssa, could you share just a few more of the common accommodations and supports that would be offered in just the regular program, not the autism support program?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say some of the more common ones are the extra time on tests, quiet space to take those tests, calculator if there's like math disability, and then there's some classroom accommodations. So breaks from class, if a student, needs to just step out and take some time to breathe and calm down, we can put that on their plan so their instructor's aware of that. There's note-taking accommodations, whether it's just being provided an outline or a PowerPoint, or if the student needs a copy of another student's notes. We also have different things for textbooks. So like alternative textbooks where we have a software that can read it aloud, which is really beneficial for many students. And then we have some that are more case by case. So oftentimes high school students may have had like assignment extensions or things like that, or being able to use notes on a test or a memory aid. Those are more case by case at the college level. So I can, if they have documentation that supports that, what I'll do is I'll reach out to those instructors and learn, how are these tests structured? What's the objective? And then we figure out what's reasonable. Sometimes it is reasonable for a memory aid, and other times they're like, that's the very thing we're testing, is if they know the vocab. So in that case, it's not, but we're there to advocate for the students and figure out what is reasonable. And if it's not, sometimes we try to see, okay, what's an alternative maybe that would be reasonable in this case. So those are more case by case, but we absolutely explore those and go through our interactive process to figure out if they're reasonable. But yeah, the previous ones are probably more of the more common ones we see.
Great, thank you. And with regards to the apartments that are pretty much right on your campus, what percentage of students who attend Kirkwood actually stay overnight in an apartment?
Well, I guess it's a mix, because we do have so many different ages and family situations here. But if you were to think about the traditional student coming right out of high school, I would say it's a large number. It's a high percentage. I don't know the exact number, but I know a lot of younger students right out of high school are in these apartments right nearby.
And Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Kirkwood have something where students can take a short quiz and it's like a roommate matching thing? Like Kirkwood does help coordinate that piece?
Yes, they do have a housing coordinator on campus to help people through that whole apartment process. And there is a matching option for roommates. Yep.
Great, okay.
It's kind of a different setup where the apartments are privately owned, and so anyone can live there really. But students tend to be the ones living there, and they do have that roommate matching.
And how big is Cedar Rapids?
That's a great question.
I don't know either. I think of it as one of the larger cities in Iowa.
It is, in 2019, it was 132,000.
Okay. All right, very good. If anybody has any other questions, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, we appreciate both of your time today and helping us to learn more about Kirkwood College. And I will definitely keep your contact information in case there's questions to ask. But we thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.